I have a question for you. As a Shopify store owner, what's the most time-consuming task? The answer we often get from our private members getting meaningful sales is actually customer service. So, regardless of whether you're answering your own customer inquiries or you've hired a team to help with it, this AI agent will make that work faster and more efficient because it can read your emails, cross-reference your customers' orders in Shopify, advise on your return policy, and more, all so that you can free up time and money to focus on getting more sales. So in this video, I'll show you a quick demo of the agent. We'll show you how we built it, and then we'll talk about how we can make it even better. And if you like this AI agent, then you might like some of the other ones that we've built for Shopify store owners, like our Facebook ads loader, which is another huge time saver. So if that's piqued your interest, then check out the link below for our free email newsletter, and we'll let you know whenever we come out with new AI agents to help you scale your Shopify store. All right, let's get started. Okay, so let's hop into n8n and take a look at our AI agent here. So what we're doing here is we're grabbing our emails from Gmail. We're passing that email to our agent, who is powered by an OpenAI chat model. We're using GPT-4o in this case. And we have a number of tools here. The first one is a sort of a sub workflow, right? So in there, what we're doing is we're grabbing the customer data. Here, let's just move this so you can see it better. So we're grabbing the Shopify order data based on the customer's order. So that's what that's doing here. We have another AI agent that's helping decide which one of these tools that we need to get that data. Then we have a Shopify node, which gathers product information. So for example, if we need to see what the inventory is or what variants are available. So that's what this is for. And then this here is a vector database that stores store information. So for example, we have this store policies document where we talk about, what the information about the company, what our customer support emails and numbers are, how to speak to the customer, what kind of products we sell, how orders works, shipping policy, return policy, all this type of stuff that your customer service agents should know. Well, our AI agent also needs to know this information. So we pass it to the agent as a vector in a vector database so it can retrieve it as a RAG agent. And then we also give it product information. So here's a table of some of the different products. We have a product ID handle, the product title, the product description, and then some metadata so that the agent can kind of understand what kind of product this is. So we give the AI agent all this information, and then it reads the email and then comes up with a response. So let's go through a couple of examples of responses that it generated, and then we'll kind of actually generate some new ones ourselves. So I have here some just sort of a demo customer support email, so we can actually just kind of go through it. So the email coming in: hello, I want to buy a shirt, but want to know what your return policy is. Can you let me know what it is? All right, so here's the response, and it gives you the return policy right here. And this information is actually taken from our policies document here. So if we kind of return exchange policy, right? So it's 30 days of delivery and some other information about non-returnable items and restocking fees, etc. You can see here all of that information is included with the agent's response. Okay, let's go to the next email. This next email is actually a thread, right? So there's a little bit of back and forth. Okay, I really like your prompted original shirt. Do you have some other options similar to that? We do. You can find these two products here. I just responded to that manually, right? So just so I had a thread. Okay, the customer responds, that's great. Do you have them in size medium? Okay, so now this is the AI agent draft response. Okay, great news. We do have the prompted text t-shirt available in red size medium. You can check it out here. So if I click this, then we're actually going to get linked straight to the medium red variant of the product, right? Not just the product, but the specific variant that they're asking for. On top of that, the agent is checking your Shopify store for the inventory to double check, does it actually have it available? And you can see here for the other shirt, it says it's all out. There's no stock available. So the AI agent has checked inventory for this product as well, found nothing. So it says, okay, we can't really, we don't have inventory for that. So in this case, it's an example of checking your Shopify store to see what's available. Okay, next, this person, I mean, again, it's me, but we're pretending that we ordered something a long time ago. So order 1012. I placed an order in December. Where is it? I've been waiting for a long time. So this order actually does exist in our demo store. So 1012 here was placed in December. And so we're responding to it. Be like, okay, I checked your order. This is your order information. So this is the agent going into your Shopify store, grabbing the data to see what's there, right? So we've got 4 items with sweatpants, 2 sweatpants and 4 hoodies. So we take a look here, 1012. We should have 2 sweatpants and 4 hoodies, right? So it's getting the order information, but it also sees that it's unfulfilled. So it's not fulfilled yet. So it's saying, okay, we're gonna immediately figure out what's going on and expedite the process, right? So it understands that, hey, December's a long time ago, so we need to address this in a more with heightened urgency. So the agent kind of understands that and responds in that way. Okay, what's another example? Okay, I love your shirts. Do you have sweatshirts? It's like, okay, so happy that you like our shirts. We do have hoodies, and it suggests 2 hoodies. So here we have this hoodie here that they're suggesting, and then they're suggesting this one here, right? So here's an example of the agent giving product recommendations and linking the direct product itself so that the customer can easily get to it. And then this is our last example. Okay, we just placed an order. So this, just place an order. This is my order number, 1017. It's marked as not fulfilled. Oh, sorry. This is the customer inquiry. So when will my order ship? And then this is the AI agent's response. It's like, okay, I've checked your order. It's right. We don't actually get an order number or anything from the customer. All we have is their email. So the agent has to check this email in the Shopify orders to find if an order was placed. So in this case, we go to orders. We can actually see here 1017 was placed with this email, the prompteddemo@gmail.com. And you can see here the prompted.demo@gmail.com. So it understands, oh yeah, this order was placed by the person sending this email, grabs the order information. So it's like, okay, we see that hasn't been fulfilled. It was placed, this is the order number. But since our policy in our store policies is 5 to 7 days for shipping, right? 5 to 7 days for standard shipping, which is what we have here. Shipping is standard. So it knows that, hey, hasn't been 5 to 7 days yet. So we're just letting the customer know that it'll be 5 to 7 days for your order to be shipped out. So those are a few different examples of some responses by the AI agent. It covers probably some of the more common cases that you would see as a customer service agent. And so our AI agent is able to handle a lot of these scenarios. What we've done is we made it as a draft so that it doesn't just send it automatically. So you have a chance to kind of check to see what the response is, make some adjustments if you need it, or make some changes to the prompting or the agent itself so that it answers in a way you like better. Or if you just want to fine tune the message itself, you can just edit the draft. So that's our AI agent here. So why don't I just delete all of these drafts, and we're just going to run it again. Actually, you know what? I'll just delete one here so we don't have to waste too much time going through all of them. So I'll just delete this most recent one, and we're just going to run the most recent one again. So I'm just going to change this to 1, and we're just going to regenerate the response for this one email here. Well, so what it's doing here is it first reads the email, and now it's going through the AI agent. It's using the OpenAI model, checks the vector database for the store policies and the product information, and then we've got a response now. So let's take a look. Okay, we've got a draft, and here it's saying, okay, this is the return policy. So in this case, it didn't need to check Shopify for the store orders. It just checked this database here, the vector database for the store policies. And so that's how it all runs. If this is something that you're interested in, then keep watching because we'll show you how we built it now. Okay, so let's go over how we built this agent. There's a few different parts here. So we have our main agent here. We have a few different tools that we're using. So we're using Gmail, Shopify, OpenAI, Supabase, and we're using HTTP requests as well to connect to Shopify. So to make those connections and integrations into n8n, I'm not going to go over that in this video, but I do have another video where I talk about how to integrate all these tools into n8n. So check that video out. I'll link it below in the description as well. So there's a few different parts here. We have this as our main workflow. We have our sub workflow here, and we actually have a couple of additional, let's do it this way. Okay. And we have a couple of additional flows that we need to run to prepare some of this data here. So let's go top down. Okay, so we'll start off with the main workflow, and then we'll go deeper into some of these other flows as we need to. So the first thing here is our trigger. Right now I have it as, this is an inactive agent in test mode. So we're just testing it whenever we want by clicking test workflow. You could operate it in this way, actually, if you know how many emails you want to respond to. So if you come back out here, you'd be like, oh, I want to respond to these 5 emails here. You could use it in this way. But probably the most efficient way is actually changing this node to trigger whenever Gmail receives a new email. Then you can actually get the agent to look at it right away every single time, which could actually help with your response times to your customers. But for now, we're just going to do a manual trigger. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're first going to be getting the threads, right? So we're going to be getting as many threads as we need, right? So in this case, we're getting 5 threads. And then what we're doing is we're going to loop through those threads. And the reason why we're looking at threads is because sometimes we're going to have multiple emails coming in from the same customer along the same thread. And really, we just want to respond to the last message in that thread. So that's what we're doing here. We're getting all the threads, we're getting the messages in all the threads, and then we're just going to keep the last one so that we can respond to just the last one instead of responding to each message within the same thread, right? So basically, we're responding in a way a human would by going to the last one here. So once we have all of that, we will then pass that message into the AI agent. So if you're curious how we set some of these up, I'll just kind of quickly go through these nodes. So we set up a loop. The loop, we're only really returning 1 item each as a batch size, right? So the number of items to return with each call, it'll just be 1. And then we're going to be looping through by grabbing the thread from our original node, right? This first one right here. So we get our email, our thread ID. Then we get the messages from the thread ID. So thread get, and we're going to get return only the messages for this ID. And then we're using a limit node to keep the last item, because the thread might have multiple items. We'll just keep the last one. And then here is where we actually grab the message based on the ID of the last message in your thread, right? So hopefully that makes sense. But essentially all I've said is we're just grabbing the last message here in any thread. Okay, so we pass that into our AI agent, right? So we've got, this is our email message, right? Right here. This is our message from Gmail. And we just get that input here. And then we have our system prompt. So I'm not going to go read through this. You can pause and read it through yourself. But essentially what we're doing is we're saying, okay, you're an AI agent that's going to be handling customer support. Here's some information on how to respond, right? So we say if you're going to be responding, you can check the Supabase vector store for more information. You're going to output it in a certain format, right? We'll talk a little bit more about this later, but there's going to be a specific format that we want to the AI agent to respond to. And then here are the tools that you have. You can use the vector store database for store policies and product information. You can use the get order data, which is a sub workflow that gets the customer order data, what orders they've, like what when they ordered, what they ordered, where it's going, all of that. And then we also have a Shopify product information. So if they need to check inventory or variants available, then they can just check the Shopify store for that information. We also give it a little bit more information on how it should respond. So like if we want to give a product URL, this is the format it will take. If they're going to be giving a variant URL, then this is the format it will take. And then if they need more information, they can always use the get order data tool to find the customer's data. So just prompting to that to give the best response that we can possibly get to our customer. Now you can always adjust the prompt to suit your own needs. Maybe you want the AI agent to have a certain tone, right, or to maybe be a little bit more, more friendly or more funny or whatever it is. You can always adjust the prompt to have a certain personality that you want. Okay, so that's the AI agent. And then connected to the AI agent, we have our chat model. So we're using OpenAI's GPT-4o. I have talked about using GPT-4o Mini a lot of the times. For this case, I did find that 4o was a much better model for this scenario because it needs to take a lot more context of what's happening, right? So you need to get the customer order data, you need to get the email coming in, and kind of the understanding of how to respond in the best way. We found that 4o was just a better model for it. So we do recommend using 4o in this case. You could use other chat models, obviously, not just ones from OpenAI. You can use Anthropic or DeepSeek or whatever you like. But in our case, we're just using 4o. And then we have our tools here. So let's start with the simplest one, which is the Shopify one here. So here, all we're doing is we're grabbing the product information based on the product ID. So if we need to get variants available, right? So if we need to, the customer, say, for example, asks this one, let's see, where is it? No. Okay, this one here. They're asking, do you have it in red and in medium? So this is where the agent is going to check the product information, be like, is there a red variant? Is there a medium variant? And if so, is there inventory available? So that's why we need to check the Shopify store for that. Next, we have our sub workflow here. This is to get the actual customer data, right? So we pass this information here, email, order name, and description, if available, right? And then we pass it into here, and essentially we're saying, okay, we're getting this from our hire workflow, and then we're aggregating it into a data, just all of this information will just go under a data field or parameter. And then we just say, do we have an order name or not? And then pass it into the AI agent. And so we're just doing that to kind of structure the data a little bit before bringing it into the AI agent. And so now we have another AI agent that's going to decide, which tool are we going to use? So here's our system prompt. And we're saying, okay, you are an helpful assistant. Again, and again, I'm not going to read this word for word, but what it's doing here is we're saying what kind of store it is and what they do. And we're going to look through the email that we've received, and we're going to try to see if we can find an order name. And if we can find an order name, then we're going to use this tool here, which is to get the Shopify order by the order name. If you don't have an order name, then check the customer's email and see if you can find an order from a customer based on the email that they have. If we do find an order based on the email, then what we can do is we can actually get the customer ID from here, this tool, and we can pass it to the third tool, which is going to grab all the orders based on the customer's ID. And so those are the three tools available. If we don't find any orders, then we just return that we can't find anything. So let's take a look at our tools here. Actually, before we do, we're just using GPT-4o Mini in this case because we found that that was good enough for this AI agent. So we don't. So it's a little bit of a cheaper model here. Okay, so first off, we're just using an HTTP request to get the order data, and we are going to be using these fields. So we're status any, right? Any order. And then we're going to be getting the name and the fields. So the name is the order name that we're hopefully getting from the customer. So if we get that, then we can just directly use this. If we don't, then we actually have to get the order name from one of the other tools, right? But based on the customer ID or the customer email. And next is just the fields that we're going to be grabbing to pass back to the main workflow. Okay, in this case, if we don't have the order name directly, then we're going to be searching for the customers based on the customer's email. So we'll look either at the email coming in, the sender's address, or if the person was saying like, hey, I ordered shirt and this is my email that I used to order it, then they can check based on that. And we're just going to be looking for a customer ID essentially. If the email exists in our Shopify store as a customer, it'll pull up a customer ID, and we can grab that ID and pass it over to this tool, which is going to find the orders based on customer ID now. And so this is a very similar request to the very first one, except we're looking at it based on customer ID. So this is what this sub workflow, sub AI agent does, and then it returns the order data so that our main agent can then use it in our responses. All right, so we've had, say for this response here, so we can grab that order data and use it in our response. Okay, and so our last tool is the Supabase Vector Store. What this is it allows us to store information like the store policies and product information like this that can be retrieved by the AI agent on an as-needed basis. This way we don't have to store it directly in the AI agent's context window. It can be used as a separate tool that can be accessed on an as needed basis. And so we're using the OpenAI embeddings model to map all this information into vectors, right? So it's just doing some fancy math to assign a number to each piece of data. And then the model, when it gets the inquiry from the customer, it turns that message into a series of numbers as well, and then tries to find the closest match. And that way, it allows it to have all this additional information without actually storing it directly within the context window itself. And then we just grab the relevant pieces only. So we won't get too much into how RAG works in this video, but we are using it. So let's go over a little bit on how you can set it up yourself. So the first thing you're going to need is to actually set up your database itself. And so we have these two flows here that kind of help with that. So the first one is the vector database storage. So we have a Google Drive node here, and all it's doing is it says, okay, we're going to download a file and then have that file available for the Supabase vector store node. And the operation we're going to be using is insert documents, and then we're going to be placing it into the table called documents. It's going to be, and then the file that's going to be placing in is going to be the one that we're getting from our Google Drive. So if you actually go to the node here, so if you go to the docs here, it explains a little bit more about how to use the Supabase vector store node. If this is something that you want to see, then just give a comment below and we can talk a little bit more about that. Okay, so once we have that set up, then we can actually connect the embeddings model that we want to use. So we're using OpenAI in this case, and we're using the text embeddings 3 small model for that. And then we have to also connect a data loader. So we're just using binary to load all input data, and then we're automatically going to detect by MIME type. And then we're also going to choose a text splitter, which we're going to be using the recursive one. And then so once we run that, then this will place all the data into our vector database. So we're going to run this once for the store policies document, and then we're going to do it a second time for our product data CSV. So it can't actually be a Google Sheet directly, it has to be a CSV, but we do it once for each one of those. And then we get this data into our vector store database. So you can see here, we've got store policies coming in here. We've got our product handles and IDs, and you can see the metadata there. And then we've got our vector embeddings value right here, right, showing up. And so that's what this is for. This here is to actually map out our product IDs with our product handles. And so actually what we did here is we go to our products, and then you can just export your products right here, export, right? And then you'll get a CSV, which looks a little bit like this, right? Without this, yeah, actually just like this. So this is our export. And then we're going to delete the duplicate rows so that we clean it up and it looks something like this. Now, I created a second tab here, and that's what this flow here is going to generate. So what we're doing is we're doing an HTTP request on our Shopify store to grab both the product IDs and handles, right? And then then we have a little bit of code to prepare the data so that it can then be placed into our Google Sheet, which is this sheet right here. And then once we do it, we're going to have two columns. We're going to have an ID column and a handle column. And then what we can now do is we can see here we have all these handles, but we don't have product ID. So that's what this is for. So then we can use a formula to just match the handle to the ID. And so here I can show you a little example where you can see all this. I actually just copied the data into this tab here. And you can see we're using an index formula to match the handle that we see in sheet 1 with the ID, the corresponding ID. So let's say, for example, Deluxe Tote is here. Then we've got number ending 8692. We've got Deluxe Tote here. Now it grabbed the number ending in 8692. And so this is our product data, right? So we can get the product ID, which is going to be important for our agent to look up the product data in our Shopify node right here, because we need product ID. So we have this spreadsheet of our product data, right? We've got our handle, we've got our title, we've got the description, right? So it's this long description of the data of what the product is. And then you can generate a CSV with this and then pass it into your Supabase vector store. So it shows up all in here. And then now, because it's in your vector database, you can use it as a tool to be accessed as by your AI agent. And so that's what's happening here. Okay, so finally we have our structured output parser. So what we're doing here is we've got two output parameters. The first one is called customer inquiry. The second one is called message. So this is what the actual response is. The customer inquiry is a binary, is a Boolean value, true or false, because we want to differentiate between a true customer inquiry and sometimes you might get update emails. Like say, for example, it's like, you just get those automated emails that are not a customer asking about something. So we don't want the AI agent to create a response for that because it'll just kind of, it's just not relevant. So we can just ignore it. So that's what we're doing here. We're outputting those two values so that we have this if statement checking to see, is it a customer inquiry or not? If it is, then it'll create the draft. If it isn't, it'll just completely ignore it. And then finally, we've got our Gmail node to draft the final response. And then ultimately, we get our responses in our Gmail account for our customer service, which we have these responses here as examples, right? So we can get all sorts of things. We have customers that are asking about orders that are late or delayed. We've got customers asking about what kind of products are available. We've got customers asking when an order might be shipped. So we've got a lot of different scenarios that can be handled. And if you need more, you can always just prompt, add that information to the AI agent prompt, or pass it as sort of resources that you can include into your vector database. Okay, so that's how we built our AI agent, but there's a lot we can do to make it even better. So for example, let's say you have a customer that is one of your best customers. They're buying all the time. They're sending you all sorts of messages. Right now, the AI agent only looks at the latest email from them, and they don't have the context that, hey, this customer has emailed us 30 times over the past year. So we could add a tool to grab all customer inquiries and interactions over the previous 6 months or 12 months, and then have that as part of the context window for the agent to generate a response, so that you're like, oh, this is actually one of our best customers. We need to respond to them in a slightly different way than if they were just sending us a single question. Next, we could also include a tool that maybe checks the supplier information, right? Like, okay, if something's out of stock, then maybe we can check to see when something might become available again. So if let's say, for example, you're a print-on-demand company and you're using a supplier like SNS or Sanmar, then they have APIs that you can go and check their inventory levels. And so you can add a tool to go check their inventory as well. Or maybe you wanted to send an email to your supplier to be like, hey, what's going on with this? Or when is something coming available? You can get the agent to do that next step as well. You could also include more information so that the agent can give better product recommendations. So right now we just have title and description, but maybe you want to give even more descriptive information about each product to your agent, or maybe you want to give the agent the images so that it can start to understand what the product is, what based on the images it has, so that you can when the customer asks like, oh, do you have any brown bags that look like a bucket or something like that, and then it'll start to look through all of your product images to see if it can find something for you for that customer. What else can we do? We can integrate with shipping software. So, maybe if the customer wants a refund, then not only do you tell them what the refund policy is, but you could actually generate the shipping label and send that off to the customer so that they can then ship the product back and then process the RMAs and kind of go through the whole process, right? So we're not just generating the response, but we're now actually taking that next action to process the actual exchange and refunds. We can get it to create discount codes. So if a customer is unhappy about something, then you can go into Shopify, create that discount code, and then send that over to the customer as well. So there's there's a lot of things that we can do to make this agent even better. So it's not just answering questions, but now it's starting to do some of those next actions that you would have to do as part of a customer agent role anyway. So there's lots of places where we can expand on this. If that's something you want to see, just let us know in the comments below. If that's something that you need built for you, then check out our email newsletter. We will send out information about how you can learn more about working with us. But that's our Shopify customer service AI agent. It's going to save you a lot of time. It doesn't take you all the way to 100%, but what it will do is it will draft up that first email so that you can save a lot of time, and it maybe takes you 80-90% of the way there, and then you can just do that final 10%. But that alone should already save you hours and hours to help you put more time towards growing your Shopify store. So I hope you liked that one, but that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next one.